Welcome to the Tomosi Business Training Series. The basis of these sessions is to support the Tomosi Group staff and management to raise their capabilities and performance. The series is also a platform to share our experience with young entrepreneurs, making an effort to build their startups in Uganda and across Africa.
Good morning. A friend of mine a few weeks back sent me a copy of a book from some of my favorite authors. They're two brothers, Dan and Chip Heath. Many years ago, I read their first book. The book is called Made to Stick: Why Some Ideas Survive and Others Die. Now, that book sent me looking for all the Dan and Chip Heath titles, such as one called Switch, How to Change Things When Change is Hard. And they have another one called The Power of Moments, Why Certain Experiences Have Extraordinary Impact Than Others. And many titles they have written. Now, in this book, which a friend of mine sent me a few weeks ago, the book is called Upstream, How to Solve Problems Before They Happen. Dan Heath tells of a public health parable that imagines two people taking a picnic by the side of a river. And I quote, "Suddenly, these are two people on a picnic near downstream at a river." I quote, "Suddenly you hear a shout from the direction of the river. A child is drowning. Without thinking, you both dive in, grab the child, and swim ashore. Before you can recover, you hear another child cry for help. You and your friend jump back in the river to rescue her as well. Then suddenly, another child drifts into your sight, and another, and another. The two of you can barely keep up. Suddenly, your friend starts to wade out of the water, seeming to leave you alone. 'Where are you going?' you demand. Your friend answers, I quote, 'I'm going upstream to tackle the guy who is throwing all these kids in the water.'" End quote. This parable, to those of you watching and listening to me, demonstrates the tiresome and very exhausting nature of dealing with problems as they emerge and focusing on decisions in the now instead of going to the source of the problems. The problems become like, they call it a game of whack-a-mole. You press one problem, the next one comes. You're handling 3 problems, they become 5. The type of thinking of solving problems at source, Dan Heath calls it upstream and preventive thinking. Going upstream is making decisions about the source of problems, the very place that keeps pouring out generic problems that appear as if they are transitory and operational problems, yet they are truly a reflection of an underlying failure to deal with their sources. You remember, those of you who follow us, in our last 2 episodes, we mentioned that sometimes issues that continue to undermine an organization tend to be generic. Decision makers, managers, leaders confuse these decisions as if they are simple, normal operational problems. We said that generic issues, such as the behavior of an organization, are only solved by making a principle or a rule or living by particular values in order to undermine the very existence of those problems. In this book that I have just finished reading, that is called Upstream, Dan Heath, the author, raises 3 fundamental causes of this behavior that I want to share with you today. First, he calls it problem blindness. If you have dealt with an issue so many times and it refuses to go away, often a decision maker thinks this is how the world is. This issue is unsolvable, and perhaps this is the culture of the organization, and nothing I can do can change this situation. Instead of solving these problems once and for all by going to the source, a decision maker begins to adapt to them and to adapt to the problems. Instead, the problems take the front seat and the people take the dance floor, swinging to the sound of their chorus, mindlessly and tirelessly. You know, I use very local examples. Many of you who follow us, you know that. In Nkore, we used to call it Nkore traditionally. The Muzungu introduced Ankole. In Nkore, here in Uganda, there is even a term so specially designed to tolerate, to accommodate, to excuse this kind of thinking. In Ankole we say, Echina kyaha mulyango tikyerindwa, which is loosely translated as, I quote, one cannot avoid falling into a hole or a pit in front of their house, in front of the door of one's house. In other words, this saying is telling you, please accept that you will make this mistake repeatedly. And this is how things are. You cannot change these matters. But if I may ask, who said you do not have options, even in this Runyachitara saying I just read? One option in this situation is to fill the hole or the pit in front of the house so that it ceases to become a danger to the occupants of the house. Another option is to change the door entrance of the house to face another way. Both are better options than always falling in a known hole or pit with potential danger of injury to many. Now, if language shapes culture norms and values, and culture norms in a vice versa manner shapes language, Runyachitara ranks high in justifying and excusing some mistakes. There is one that says, Owanyi kwa hakura omurgatsengaro, meaning if your relative harvests honey, Reed gets a fat job, you should get close to him or her so you can lick his hands or his fingers. Basically meaning that he or she who got the job, gets a big job, should feed you and the clan. This, in my opinion, justifies cronism, which is a major way of life in feudal societies, which some people have kept alive. The very behavior that now undermines organizational growth in our modern times. We've spoken before about employment of unqualified relatives. And this proverb speaks to that. Now, problem blindness means you have been too close to an issue that you cease to see it. You are too close to it that there are no other ways you dream of to change a situation. Often in meetings that I attend in the public space, I've seen people fight to keep a particular way of handling an issue simply because they know no other. Yet, if they kept an open mind, if they involved many more people outside of that issue, they would find new and creative ways to advance the situation for better in an organization. Now, to cure problem blindness, one is required to find new ways of working together with others as teams to arrive at decisions that look at a problem in a fresh manner and solve it. Remember, you are not the first to confront this new problem. You won't be the last. Please open your mind and learn from those around you. Now, the list, you need to remember this, the list in your organization might be the hinge on which an idea to solve a current problem turns.
We would like to hear from you. Please email us at info@tapmedia.com and visit our website at www.tapmedia.com. You can also visit our offices located at Tomosi Business Park, Luzira, Port Bell Road, or call 0414-220-702. Thank you.